Good day, ladies and gentlemen. It's Eric Coffin, HR Advisories. I'm here at the Vancouver Metal Investors Forum, January 2026. I'm here with Niel Marotta, who's the CEO of Sun Summit Minerals. It's one of the companies I invited to present. Sun Summit had a very successful 2025, generated a lot of good holes off their JD property in the Toodoggone. It's interesting because many moons ago, my late brother David worked at Lawyers for, I don't know, 2 or 3 years. And I remember after the French guys threw up their hands and left, talking to their CEO back then, and him saying, I love that area, but we're just not sure it's got the scale potential. Now, 25 years later, between Thesis and JD and the two other adjoining companies, I would say odds are pretty good, actually, that as a camp, Toodoggone's probably going to be it's going to be 10 million ounces. I'm very comfortable with that, but it's probably going to be 15 or 20. And to me, what that means ultimately is, somebody's going to come knocking. There aren't many camps in good jurisdictions with good rule of law with that kind of scale and grade. I don't know whether it's going to happen in 3 months or 3 years, but somebody's taking, one of the big guys is going to take that whole thing out. I think that's pretty much a done deal. And, Neil and his team, they're working now to kind of show as much value as they can at JG so that when that time comes and somebody comes after Thesis, they're going to be coming after you guys too. Now you're good to go for this year. Everything's, financing, all that kind of stuff is done for you.
Yeah, we did an $11.5 million private placement, straight equity, no warrants. We closed that December 23rd. So right before the end of last year. And so now we're cashed up to do what we think will be our biggest program ever, a 10,000 meter drill program, which would exceed the drilling we did in the last 2 years combined. And so we'll dedicate at least $10 million to the budget next year.
Okay. And that's going to get you pretty close to completing the earn-in too. I mean, I know JG, the vendors of 3 geos. I know all of them. They're good guys, but they're not pushovers. I mean, one of the things about JG was it was never going to be an inexpensive option. Although the option is, in fairness, the option is mainly about property spending. They want to see the drill holes, so they got to be pretty happy too. But I think you guys are going to be at or very, very close to hitting that 100% spending commitment.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, that was a major change enabled by the financing we did back in May. We raised $10 million. That took a big bite out of the work commitments. And you're right, by the end of this season, we should be either all the way home or very, very close with many more years. So it's certainly less of an issue, I think, for the stock, but we'd like to get to 100% ownership.
Yeah. And there's a lot of great drill holes generated. I mean, JG's got some great high grade. What's your thinking in terms of, where are you guys going to focus this 10,000 meters? I know you're still working on it, but just in a vague sense, what's the plan?
Yeah, well, we've got this 4.5 kilometer corridor that we call the Creek to Fin corridor. Most of the historic drilling, 36,000 meters plus, most of that was at the Fin zone on the east end of that corridor. We focused last year on the Creek zone. That's where we got those great high grade hits you mentioned, 81 meters at 4.8 grams from surface. You just don't see hits like that very often, particularly in the kind of jurisdiction you described earlier. So I think we'll focus again on stepping out from Creek and Fin. But there's also plenty of worthy targets inside that corridor, Wolf Zone, Schmidt, and JD West, and interesting areas where we could be adding ounces where we just haven't done the drilling in the past. So I think it'll be a combination of all those things I just listed, with the goal ultimately to add as many ounces as we can for an inaugural resource estimate we have planned for the summer of 2027.
Okay. Yeah, and I've always been in the camp where there's no sense pushing the resource any earlier than you have to. But I think this is a situation where, these guys get to, this is me saying it, not Neil. These guys get to 2 or 3 million ounces, and that's probably the point. Even though it won't be done growing, where you probably want to get a number out there, because I think there's some legitimate concern if somebody shows up with their shopping bag in hand and a big checkbook. You want to be sure that you get fairly valued, and you don't get shorted when these guys come in to scoop up the whole thing. And and I know I'm giving the ultimate and forward-looking statements here, but really, I mean what I said. There aren't many camps that have this sort of aggregate ounces, these kind of grades in a safe jurisdiction. There's just not many of them around. So when you look at Toodoggone as a camp, I can't envisioning it not being taken out by somebody. I don't know who it's going to be, what the time is going to be, but somebody's coming after this thing. It's going to happen. Now, what about? I mean, you picked up the other project, Theory, last year. Are you going to do much there, or are you pretty much going to stick to JD this year?
JD will still be our focus for, let's say, 90% plus of our spend. But you're right, we did option Theory last year. We had fly camp up there and some prospecting, some nice results. 6-7% copper, some real nice hits. So we'll do some more early, let's call it early work next year. We'll probably won't drill till 2027.
Right.
But yeah, we've probably got some IP work ahead of us first, which would be very helpful. And we've identified an interesting 3-kilometer zone at Saboteur that's very interesting. And that's a property that has not had a lot of historic work on it, certainly not in any kind of modern times. So right. It's interesting. We're partnered with the Eagle Plains. Right. We spent a little over, I think, $200K last year. We'll spend over the next 3 years another $2.6 million to earn a 75%, and then we can buy the final 25% for another $1 million. Okay. So yeah, if things keep going the right direction, that will be a nice addition to our packages. Yeah. Yeah,
it's a great story. I mean, it hasn't seen liftoff yet, but I'm in the volume precedes price camp when it comes to how these stocks trade. And I'm very encouraged with the amount of trading volume you guys are seeing lately. I think it's only a matter of time before it really starts to move, given the results you've generated and the ones you're going to generate. I mean, now that you're financed, everybody knows there's at least 10,000 meters coming. You guys are going to hit it really hard this year. I don't know. Is there anything else that you want to highlight? I mean.
Well, I think you made a good point. The stock does trade 2.5 to 3 million shares a day on average, and about 500,000 shares a day in the U.S. So the stock is very liquid. Our market cap today is only about 45 million, and we are our neighbor immediately to the west, contiguous to us, is Thesis, and their market cap on the back of a very robust pre-fees that came out recently. They're at about an 800 million market cap. Not to say that we're on track to become an 800 million market cap tomorrow, but if we've got a resource that's anywhere near, let's say, half as big, I'd like to think we could get to a quarter of that valuation, if not all the way to half. Yeah. And that'll create a lot of value for shareholders.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think it's one of those stories that's, everything's going the right way. I mean, sometimes volume, I do believe that volume precedes price, but sometimes volume can be a curse. I mean, I think what you've seen with your stock is, guys who are flipping for half a cent, and there are a bunch of traders, that's what they do. And it's not about a particular company. I don't care about the company. I don't care about the stocks. I don't even care about the share price, really. They just care there's enough volume that they can scalp half a cent and go back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. You probably get some of those guys, and they're enhancing the volume, but that's fine. I mean, those guys tend to run out of steam, or you come up with news, or you get a sea change in valuation. Those guys get caught on the wrong side of the trade, and right. You don't really have to worry about them anymore. The other thing, too, is I don't know if you really want to comment on this, but I'm wondering whether you're, with the high grade that you've got, and we had some very high grade holes. Are you guys looking at doing sort of metallic screens and stuff like that? Is there any concern about that?
Yeah, that's a great question. We actually are running some screens right now. To test whether, in fact, we are leaving any grade behind using the multi-element fire assay method. Right. So stay tuned for that. We're probably a couple of months away from getting those final results. Okay. And then, depending on the materiality, we'll disclose what we find. Okay. Yeah, but we are testing it, absolutely. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Who knows? That's a shot in the dark, flash in the pan. Maybe it works, maybe it doesn't. But it would be nice to know. Obviously, more grades are always good news when you're dealing with a resource. Yep. Mm-hmm. But this is a story where you can be pretty confident these guys are going to generate a bunch of good drill holes. I mean, they already have. They know where to go. This year's drilling is as much as anything about growing resources. They know where they are and putting in the holes that'll allow a third party resource estimator to put a resource together. So when you're drilling those kind of holes, odds are pretty good you're going to get some nice numbers. So I'm looking forward for a year of really strong news flow and hopefully strong price gains.
Yeah, I'm with you. Next 18 months will be very exciting.
Thanks for coming along, Neil.
Yeah, my pleasure.